It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com. All right, welcome everybody. Is my mic working? Welcome everybody to our weekly wrap-up, weekly two-way wrap-up, where we take a look at what's been going on in the week from the perspective of our Second Amendment and what it protects. And let me touch a little bit on guns and some other things. So we're going to go from the puppy over here and head over to this screen, which I'll just screen share. I shouldn't keep moving this mic every time I do that. It seems to kill the audio. Hopefully it didn't kill the audio. All right, so now we'll just pull this over. We'll bring this back around and put the puppy cam up. Hopefully the puppy cam is still working. Everybody who was here early got to see the slideshow of the puppy and his friend Mello on their adventures scuba diving in Arizona. So thanks everybody for joining us live. We do this live. I appreciate the live feature of the internet, right? We're here with an interactive technology allows people to do more than just like and follow and subscribe and all that kind of garbage, which is nice for the logarithms, but it allows us to have an actual conversation. So by doing this stuff live, unscripted, obviously I've got some notes here, but essentially we're just going to go through some stuff that was focused on Second Amendment for the week, add some commentary, some perspective, hopefully a little bit of insight that gets you thinking and hopefully motivated to act. And at the same time, this is a forth thing, so appreciate the people that join us live. Now, most of the people that listen to this will listen to this in a podcast. It's a much larger podcast than it is a live show, but if you'd like to participate in the live show, we go live midnight on Friday nights, midnight Eastern. Why midnight? Because it's cool, and cool literally, I'm in Arizona, but it's cool because people that work the night shift don't get anything focused on them, and I have been a night shift and overnight person my whole life, so I'm doing my show in the middle of the night so that people that are listening live can be those folks that are up in the middle of the night. That being said, most of the people are listening to podcasts, so if you are, please give us some feedback. Give us those thumbs and likes and hearts or whatever the indicators are that you appreciate the show. It lets the podcast platforms know that we're worth sharing to new people, and that's our goal. We're trying to grow the podcast in the 2024, the election year. I've been doing this for a long time, and you put this stuff into gear so we can get the word out. We had Jeff Knox on yesterday, I guess, and great conversation. We've got him coming back on the 13th, and then we've got Alex coming up on the 20th, so we're getting our interview schedule back into gear, and we're hoping to get that out to as many people as possible, because we're not just talking about news of the day, we're talking strategy and how we can end some of these debates and end some of these foolish problems that we have that are due to unawareness, I guess, in ignorance. Let's get rid of some of that ignorance and let's end some of these things that so many of us are sick of, some of these cycles that we're sick of seeing. All right, so that's our overall goal for the show. We're going to help do that by taking a look at what goes on during the week. This is kind of YouTube-centric, but not entirely. And at the same time, we are sharing this on a lot of different platforms as a blog, as a podcast, and on some social posts. So hopefully we are sharing this stuff around to get it off of YouTube. So I guess with that in mind, we've got it on our Patreon blog. Check that out. That's of course the people that make it possible for us to do this. You'll see the scroll going down at the bottom of the screen right now. Our Patreons make it possible for us, me and this puppy and some other people, to spend time on projects like this one right here. Thank you. We do appreciate it. We wouldn't be able to do that. We're not funded by anybody. We're not sponsored by anybody. I don't have to get you to buy anything. I don't care if you buy a gun or not. You could buy 6 guns. You could buy none. I'm happy that you're interested in what our rights are protected and thinking about these things. And hopefully, again, with the strategy of getting rid of some of these issues that some people are profiting on. And it's actually quite annoying to see them. Every time the cycle comes around, to see the same people profiting on these issues that are entirely due to ignorance. So let's get rid of some of that. So thanks to the Patreons to make it possible for us to have ambitions for goals like that. Basically, Patreon is a platform that you can go to and support projects like ours. Most people are giving us $5 a month, so like a cup of coffee every month. So that's $60 a year, monthly, right? And you subscribe on Patreon. Some people buy us lunch each month, like $20. We really appreciate that, because the people that do that, the 100 or so people that do that, it accumulates, and that allows us to pay for 3 servers. We have a giant server and 2 medium-sized servers that serve up the different websites for redundancy and for other reasons. And then we have a little bit of software. I'm not crazy. I used to have thousands and thousands of dollars worth of software running back when we had gun channels. I don't need any of that anymore, but we do have some software that costs money. And then the time, really, it's just the time that it takes to update that stuff and add new things and devote to this kind of project. So our Patreons make it possible for me to do that, and for the other people that help me to do that, and then pay for those projects. In addition, we travel and we do stuff once in a while. So Patreons make it possible for me to even consider doing that stuff. Now, if we had 3 times the number of supporters, the subscribers on Patreon, we'd be doing a lot more. So if you're interested in using your capitalism to support projects that you value, including ours, check out Patreon. I know a lot of people flee the platform for various reasons, but it's been great for our projects, and I know a lot of people that have enjoyed it. Plus, there's lots of non-gun related stuff over there. So if you value supporting things that are happening in real life, being part of the support for that stuff, check it out. In addition, we post this show as a newsletter, and I don't do that often enough. It's actually the most laborious thing to do, so it's the thing that gets kicked to the curb each week if I don't have time. But I do attempt to do that at least a couple of times a month for those people that don't have time to watch the videos or don't go to the social platforms. We actually have about 300 people that contact us exclusively through emails. I don't do email funnels or try to do marketing stuff, so I'm not collecting email addresses. It actually costs us money to send out the newsletters. Technically, the Patreon support, stuff like that. But again, it's not something that we're super ambitious on. But if you are interested in getting this stuff through email, check out our newsletter. And then Substack, that's what we're looking at on the screen right now, which is essentially a fancy blog. And you'll see its formatting, I think, is the best of all the other things that we post to. So it makes it the best to facilitate the video. Of course, we post things to Instagram, which is my favorite of the platforms, or at least it has been over the years. It's a very visual one. It's kind of a fast one. So a big fan of Instagram. I'm going to take a second here and thank all the people that are joining us live. So if you want to join in, to do that, I guess I'll say that I'll do that in a moment after I start the poll. So each week I like to start a poll over on the YouTube channel for the people that are joining us live. And I ask the same question to start out. How was this week for 2A? Tell you what, this was an amazingly giant week for 2A. I don't know if you're paying attention or not. Some people listen to this show, just to get the wrap up for the week and don't pay attention because of it. It's a massive week. It's going to be a long show probably. There's a lot to talk about, let alone comment on. And I missed a bunch of stuff. I missed some of the boring, distracting shit for sure. So it was a great week. If I can spell right, great week for 2A. And then I like to copy this part so I don't have to write it ever again. And then we can say good, and then just paste, and then add more of these, and then do OK, paste, right, and then bad. And now everybody that's watching, who's watching live at least, can participate in this. Of course, if you're listening in the future, you get the opportunity to kind of time travel. So feel free to leave a comment with how you think this last week was, the week of November 3rd. Is that really the way to do it? I think it's saying, I don't think you're allowed to say the week of November 3rd. That's the end of the week. So whatever the beginning of this week was October 20 something. But, let us know in the future what you think. Maybe one day somebody will do a project where they go back and look at stuff like polls on YouTube. How cool would that be? So I did see that we have a pop-up happening on the YouTube side. That's Gizzard's show says, where's it at now? Come on. Where'd it go? Went all the way down here? Seriously? Come on, man. They know I'm doing this live. I don't have time for this kind of craziness. So there it is. Right above the live chat, if YouTube will be consistent about this. Gizzard Gary and his viewers just joined. Say hello. So I'm saying hello. Thanks for jumping in. There's a bunch of people posting about the week. But Gizzard has a show that's on just before this one. I always appreciate him posting about our Free Patch Friday over at the Gear website store. We had a commercial on a second ago as the show started up, and there'll probably be another one here since I do this show by myself. The co-host here doesn't really offer much help. I'll end up having to take a drink of coffee here in a second. But when we do the commercial, it is for our Gear website store, which I probably don't talk about enough. I'll be putting a link to it here as I'm trying to find it. But Gear Websites is our other channel here on YouTube, and it is also the name of our store. I don't know if that was a good idea or not, but now it's our store, so it's staying like that. And we have a bunch of stuff over there, stuff that we make, stuff that we've designed, stuff that we have made, like have had made, I guess, and then some other stuff. So if you're interested in supporting what we do and you want a little something in return, definitely check out our store. We do appreciate it. And on Fridays, everything you order comes with free patches, and the more you order, the more free patches you get. All right, so now I'll get in here finally and start saying hello to the people that are joining us live. I'm using the StreamYard platform, so that allows me to, here, I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm over here looking at StreamYard. I'm allowed to click on this comment over here, and it'll pop up on the screen over there. See that, Kingpin? So Kingpin was the first one in. He's almost never here when it's live, but appreciate the interaction with the platform, which engages the logarithm to perhaps, hopefully, recommend this to more people before it goes live. If you're one of those people, say, hey, then we know that the logarithm worked and that Kingpin was successful. So Kingpin is one of the people I've made a 3D model of, FYI. And then we got Wood sitting here, second one to say hello. And, or I guess he's saying hey to Kingpin, but I've also made a 3D model of that dude. So now we have two people that I've made 3D models of it that were commenting. Fluffy is saying hey. My computer's going super slow, so it's going to take forever. Pony also said hey. Defense Dad is joining in with a 4th thumbs up. Gunmetal Guy joining. Much appreciated. Probably at work right now. Ron Wayne saying hey. And Gunswatter. I think, I don't know, there's still more people. Ozzy is out there, unfortunately, talking about the 7th Circuit Court siding with the state of Illinois on the ban today. Sorry to hear. We are definitely getting closer to the goal of having like a scoreboard of what's going on. I just have to, I've gotten to the point where I can actually devote time to thinking about it. Now I just have to figure out how to facilitate it, like how to actually make that thing happen, who to ask, what to, how to figure it out. So if anybody's got any ideas, let me know. But keeping up on what is happening in all the states is going to be useful / critical, right? Like I think we can all do with some sort of assistance, keeping track of what's going on out there. Fountain City saying, hope you're having a good night. Yep, you too. Thanks for joining us. I could go grab a fingerboard, but I got so much stuff going on right now. I'd have to think for a minute where they are. I think I still have them. My friend may have asked me for them for his kids, but back when we worked at Microsoft, we used to do fingerboarding constantly. So we all had like these little toolboxes full of fingerboard stuff. And I wasn't that good at it, but I like collecting stuff, and I like fiddling with stuff when I'm at work. And Yeah, we had a lot of fun customizing little fingerboards back in the day. This was like the early 2000s. And like I say, I had this little toolbox of them, but my friend may have asked me for them, and I would have given them to him so that he could give them to his kid. But thanks for joining us. Haven't thought about fingerboarding in a while. And later on, fingerboard is saying, been a fan of the channel for 10 years, maybe. Right on. And then agorizers out there, good afternoon, good evening. I never know, because, we're the night shift, so this might be afternoon for some people. When you're listening to this, who knows what time it is. Steven out there, good afternoon. All right, so with that, we are going to jump back into the show. So again, I tried to take a look at what's going on in the week for 2A, and without all the BS distractions, the stuff that's obvious distractions. Most of this came from the NSSF newsletter that comes out. You can join that. And then every Friday, about 2 p.m. my time. So what is that, 11 a.m. maybe? I don't know what the math is, but some earlier time, right? No, the other way. Yeah, no, I don't know, whatever the math is. It comes out in the afternoon on Friday from the NSSF, and it's a pretty concise and a pretty non-biased. It's not wasting anybody's time. It's just, here's the news, here's the news, here's the news. All right, so U.S. Supreme Court granted a cert petition of blah, 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 and agreed to hear a case challenging the federal ban on bump stock. So we got that one that's going our way. So that's the Michael Cargill case, right, out of Texas. Guy owns a gun shop and hosts a radio show. And now his case against the government for taking away his bump stock without giving him anything for it, and it's BS, has now gone all the way to the Supreme Court. Then we have, and that's a no small thing, that just happened in front of everybody, and that happened with a person who's interested and able and getting the information across. He's good at being a guest on people's shows. He's able, he's not like awkward or new to public speaking, and he's super confident. He's an Army vet, I believe. So that's super cool to have seen that happen in front of everybody and documented, and then now it's happening. It's going forward. So next, Biden is threatening to halt 20,000 rifles going to Israel from American suppliers. I don't know. I just put that in there. I'm not going to comment on it. Distractions, right? Like fentanyl. Let's not forget fentanyl. ATF director makes unprecedented call for assault weapons bans and blah, universal background checks while speaking at Harvard. Again, it's like of note, but don't get distracted by their bullshit. That's why did he go to Harvard? Why do you say that? Because he wants to distract from 107 fentanyl deaths. They want to distract from the border. They want to distract from international. They want to distract from the economy. So we can be one-track voters, but let's not be distracted by that. 51 months of million-plus firearms sold. That's a stat that the NSSF, remember I got most of this from the NSSF this week. This 51 months, excuse me. So what is it, 20, it's 4 years or something, 5 years of 1 million firearms sold each month. This is through NICS checks. This is them counting NICS checks as firearm sales. And I still will say, and I'll keep saying this until somebody shows me that there's something in the data that prevents this. If you have universal background checks, or a state starts something like universal background checks, like Michigan or like Washington and like Oregon both have done recently, and I don't know if other states have because I don't have this scoreboard yet to tell us, but if there's universal background checks and that's instigated in a state, that means every single transaction gets counted as a NICS sale, and that's not a new firearm sold. This would suggest that there's that many new firearms owners, and not, until you prove that to me, this could just be a bunch of people complying with bullshit laws that require the creation of 4473s. So I'm just mentioning this one, but I'm against the stat. I want to see more proof on that one and a challenge, and then using that to prove that 4473s are worthless, and then get rid of them. Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives updated one of the fiscal 2024 spending bills to include provisions to block the proposed rule expanding the definition. Okay, so And I have that in a article over here. I wonder if we should read the article. So in other words, in order to help fight against the change in definition of what it is to be an FFL, so they want to change the definition of an FFL to include anyone who makes a profit from selling a gun, which could include seriously anyone who sells a gun, right? Except it's a catch-22. They're not going to allow you to be an FFL for selling one gun, but they're going to say you need to be an FFL if you're going to make a profit off of selling one gun. So that's a weird catch-22 that they don't care that they're creating. So that's the frustration, and that's what the current comment period with the ATF is happening, and it's right now at 200 and something thousand comments. 200 something thousand comments. There's 30 days left. It ends in December sometime. 200 and something thousand comments. Not one of them is our side. I mean, there might be a few thousand of them our side, but that's 200,000 anti-gun comments. So everyone's just going to look at that and go, we can't win now. So it's sad to see us all be weak and just lose in front of each other. I don't like it. So here's an article from Republican spending bill from, what is this? This is from Roll Call 219, I imagine. Republican spending bill would block gun background check rule. So this is saying that as the administration reiterates calls for tougher gun measures in response to the mass killing, they used our word, in state of Maine last week, House Republicans updated a financial spending bill which provisions that take the opposite track. Republicans are looking to use the appropriations process to block a proposed rule to implement a provision included in the first bipartisan anti-gun violence package passed in years. So, got through all that flip-flop. Here we go. The gun package, which received the support of Republican senators, and then they say a bunch of them, widened the definition of engaging in the business of firearms dealing according with the Justice Department. Well, first off, no, it didn't. What the hell are they even talking about? So they're using the stupid-ass bipartisan anti-gun bullshit law that went through because of these idiot Republicans freaking 2 years ago. They're saying that this has anything to do with that, and it doesn't. The comment period is just bullshit made up out of thin air, and they're suggesting it has something to do with what Congress enacted. So that's a weird flip-flop. I think it's super fake. Then it says the law was enacted with the aftermath of killer 19 blah blah. They got to say about stuff about killers. Then another thing about killers, and then a proposed rule with the ATF proposed would clarify the circumstances. I don't know. So anyway, I'm not going to read this whole stupid thing. So anyway, they're saying though that the Republicans are now putting into the fiscal bill that Biden can't do this stuff. Essentially taking all the money away from ATF so that they can't spend any money on Biden's new stupid rule. Is that our salvation? Is our representatives pushing through this fiscal bill the way that we solve the ATF going rogue and putting through comment periods? Or is it easier or better off for us as a community to rally when needed through a freaking email campaign? How hard is it to write a fucking comment? We've done it before. So instead of actually just combating the stupid antis who we know are being paid by Bloomberg to do a stupid email campaign and we all write comments and make a big deal about the comments, so that we actually use the civic tools that we have available to us. Instead of that, we're going to wait for Republicans to send a stupid change to the fiscal bill. What a convoluted, dumbass, weak-ass way of dealing with this. So I pointed our national level organizations for not taking the lead and doing something about this that's proactive or useful or empowering. This is all weak. So next up, the House of Representatives passed H.R. 4821. The Department of come on, what the hell? I guess this is a thing of Substack. Sorry about that box keep showing up. The House of Representatives passed H.R. 4821. The Department of the Interior, blah, 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 by a vote of something. So let me think what the hell this one was. The Department of the Interior and Related Agencies Appropriations Act. Nope, don't remember. I'd have to look at the email. I think this one, no, I don't remember this one. So if somebody remembers this one, let me know. I'll have to go. Oh, do I have an email right here? I have my email right here. I left it open for just this reason. All right, it's a big email. Scrolling. Which one are we looking at? The HR 4821. All right, I'm going to have to do a find. Okay, here we go. The U.S. House of Representatives passed H.R. 4221, whatever I just said there, by a vote of 213 to 203. The bill would provide $25 billion to fund the Interior Department, Environmental Protection Agency, and related agencies, and is a 35% cut over this year. So $25 billion is a 35% cut in the EPA and Department of the Interior. In addition to scaling back wasteful spending, thanks to the leadership of subcommittee blah, 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 the funding bill includes NSF-supported provision to ensure that wildlife conservation, let me make sure that I'm still connected. Is our audio still good? Sorry, I just want to make sure everything's still good. To ensure to ensure wildlife conservation follows peer-reviewed site-specific evidence when applying policy decisions, and would prohibit funds from being used by the administration to ban traditional ammunition on public lands unless warranted. The bill, as amended, would also provide funding to enhance outdoor recreation access and digitize easement, road and trail vehicle and data as authorized by NSF-supported MapLand Act, supported last Congress and championed by somebody from Utah. I don't know about all that. Who wants to digitize easement? What does that mean? But whatever. So I guess that's what that's all about. So essentially, the Department of the Interior got cut by $25 billion, and there you go. That's it. That's what happened. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of big government. I am a big fan of the way that we've kept our interior, our resources, our natural resources over the years, and that's pretty communist. But it's a hard balance. You have to make a weird balance there. So whatever. I'm not against a 35% cut in federal spending. I'd like to see that balanced by states figuring out how to create something, or industry supplements, whatever that's like, industry support, especially industries that use those natural lands, make their living off those natural lands. All right, so next we get the Fire Sale Loophole Closing Act of 2023. This is, where is this one? This one is from a senator from New Jersey, and it's to prohibit firearms retailers who go out of business or have had license revoked from transferring their existing inventory to themselves as a personal collection. It says retailers whose license is revoked or denied may transfer inventory to their personal collections, and then they think that they can just sell them off without doing background checks. So they want to say that shouldn't be able to happen. Let's see. And then it says, this assumption is not true. Any person engaged in the business of selling or transferring firearms predominantly to earn a profit is required to be a licensed retailer. And so essentially, it's just another fake thing to distract, really. So I guess I'll keep moving. So the next one is Outdoor Recreational Outfitting and Guiding Act. If I remember right, that one was to protect guides and people who are working hourly in the outdoors. I forget all the details, but something about inequity in the way that overtime is required or allowed or something in outdoor jobs, which I have no idea why the government's involved in any of that at the federal level. So that's an act that's trying to go through to remove federal influence or touching that. We have California gun show law being blocked by a federal judge. So I think that means that you can have gun shows again, right? A federal judge blocked California's law prohibiting gun shows at county fairs, saying the ban infringed on the rights of sellers and potential buyers at gun shops. The decision came from a district judge in the District of California and repealed the law that went into effect in January of 22. Let's see, the law was authored by a Democratic senator from California that blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing. So essentially, it sounds like gun shows are back on in California. He wrote in his opinion, the law is more extensive than is necessary to serve that interest. California already has strict laws regulating firearm sales at gun shows. Gun sales can be initiated at such events, but not completed. Buyers must pick up their firearms at a licensed retailer at a different location following a 10-day waiting period and successful background check. So I guess the concern that they had to ban them was because of sales, their bullshit law, the gun show loophole bullshit, and they proved that the law doesn't allow them to do that anyway. So let's see. So then we have the Ninth Circuit Court stayed an assault weapons ban ruling in California, which everybody's upset about. A federal appellate court paused a lower court decision overturning a California ban on assault weapons. So there was a California ban on assault weapons, and a Ninth Circuit Court said that ban is unconstitutional. Well, now the next level up from that, a en banc, whatever, circuit court or something, whatever it's called, said, nope, no, it is legal. It's good to go. And that was a 2-1 decision by a 3-judge panel no, it wasn't en banc then. So it was I don't know, whatever the hell this is. This is a constantly going on thing. I guess I don't know the details. The 2-1 decision by a 3-judge panel. Appeals of the Ninth Court leaned heavily on the appellate court earlier this month, in which the 11-judge panel paused another ruling overturning the state's ban on large capacity. Okay, so that's where I'm mixed up. The big judge panel paused a ban on the magazines, and then this one is the assault weapons ban, and now it's saying that the granted a stay on leaving the law intact while it continues to hear the appeal. Let's see. But I guess everyone's wondering how that can be consistent with everything else. So there's little doubt that the semi-automatic rifles has banned. There can be little doubt that the semi-automatic rifles California has banned, based on features such as pistol grips, flash suppressors, and folding or telescoping stocks, are in common use for lawful purposes. So essentially, everyone's convinced that they'll eventually get rid of them, but they're going through every dramatic step or possible legal step that they can to prevent it from going through smoothly. I guess that's the way to suggest what's happening, or to describe what's happening. And then finally, in the stuff coming off of the NSF that I decided to click on here is New York's governor, who got her way with the emergency orders, is now extended those emergency orders for a 3rd month. So there you go. It says, now the governor again praised law enforcement for being tough on criminals, while admitting gunfire in the county also went up 56% over a 3-day period compared with the same time last month, demonstrating criminals are the ones breaking the law. Well, what do you know? So we have to unfortunately endure these situations, which we gain data from, and hopefully we'll see consequence of this, and we'll see. Hopefully, this will be nail in the coffin of this kind of action. But I guess we'll see what happens. So with that, like I said, there are some other things that I missed here, and Ozzy had mentioned the news in Illinois earlier as well. The Seventh Circuit Court sided with the state of Illinois on the gun assault weapons ban, which means that goes to the Supreme Court, right? So at least we see that situation get created by that negative situation in Illinois. All right, going on from news of the week, we're going to jump into what's been happening, like I say, mostly YouTube, but some other stuff, but what's been going on through the week. We start off with 2A stuff, then we get into gun stuff, and then some radio shows, and then stuff that we worked on this week. I always start off with Brooke Cheney's Suicide Prevention Saturday. It's one of the best, if not the best, consistent efforts to really solve the problem here. So firearms deaths are about 40,000 each year, give or take. It's usually a little bit less than that, but 40,000 on the high end. And of that, usually 30,000 are suicides. So 40,000 gun deaths, 30,000 of them are suicides, 10,000 of them are accidents and murders. That's pretty much how it breaks down. Now, sure, there's 107,000 fentanyl deaths. There's something like 500,000 tobacco deaths and 100,000 alcohol deaths. Is that how it breaks down? But guns with 40,000, 30,000 of them are suicide. That's the issue. That's the health crisis in the country. So it's a way to divide and fracture, and it's all based on ignorance and unawareness of guns and gun culture and gun community. When they can pick on somebody who's not, who people aren't aware of, then that's how they divide. But one way that we can combat this, and one ways that we can help people, is to become more aware of the main factor in gun deaths, which is suicide. 30,000 out of the 40,000 deaths are suicide. And of those, 22 a day or so are veterans. So you might be interested in helping veterans. You might be interested in helping people. You might be interested in preventing future attacks on our rights. But all of these end up with, normalizing mental health conversations and awareness, and creating resources for people that are struggling or having difficulty. And that can be anything from civic to individual to religious to, I suppose, some government, but hopefully not anything government, because this can be done person to person and community to community. But what Brooke does each week is provide a conversation, a brief, usually 20, 30-minute conversation focused on Suicide Prevention Saturday, mental health awareness, and making these conversations more comfortable, more normalized, and allowing us to get real when people want to suggest, because they've been told guns are bad, and we can suggest, hey, you really want to help people, then let's look at the gun deaths. 40,000 of them, 30,000 of them are suicide. You take the gun away from them, they're still suicidal, right? Do you want to help those people? What do we get to help people that are, why are we in this predicament? What can we do? How can we remove, reroute some resources to help people in this situation, or create some awareness so people know it's a temporary state of mind or something? What can we do? Instead of, let's take away the one thing that you're scared of, that you've been told is the magic thing. You really think you take away one thing from someone who's suicidal, they're not suicidal anymore? If anything, you stressed them out a little bit more, right? So having these kind of conversations allows us to actually move on. And Brooke helps normalize this and keeps it consistently in the conversation. Every other week, everybody else is worried about what news of the day, whatever distractions going on, whatever bullshit's going to make them money, whatever bullshit's going to make them more famous, whatever bullshit's going to set them up to be better next year. Brooke is over here consistently talking about mental health awareness and suicide prevention. It's the most effective thing. It's the most useful thing that happens in the Second Amendment every single week. Highly recommend you check it out. Highly recommend. I hope that you're sharing it and you're helping spread the word. her show is useful, and the effort should be more rewarded than it is. Moving along, we've got the Women for Gun Rights, used to be called the DC Project. They got sick of trying to describe what they do, so they named the organization for what they do, Women for Gun Rights. They visit DC. They have a fly-in where they go to DC each year, and a group of ladies, you can see them in the picture here, a group of ladies meet with their representatives. So it's a lady from each state who come together in DC, usually in October, and meet with their representatives. They get appointments and they schedule it all. They fly on their own dime. They take time away from their families and their lives and their businesses and their whatever else they got going on. Their moms and sisters and grandmas and whatever they are. A whole bunch of people from different places, different kinds of lives coming together and meeting with their representatives and giving them a face of gun owners, a perspective of gun owners, of victims, of moms, of people who are often spoken for by the richest person, one of the richest people on the planet, or one of his paid Monsanto employees. So, these are ladies that are doing probably some of the most effective activist work, because they're not just going there and shouting. They're meeting with the representatives and having conversations and telling them, the representatives, their position, and getting information from those representatives. Those ladies then have up training and conversations with each other. They're often members of the other female organizations and other gun owners organizations that are out there, and they bring their experience, their hands-on, like boots on the ground, earned experience. They bring that back. They're one of the most well-oiled national level organizations we got, and each of these ladies is an ambassador coming back to their organizations, their states, their groups, their rallies, and they're offering that experience and that resource. So it's an amazing project. This is a video, about 22 minutes long, describing their fly-in this year. Again, worth your time, worth your funding to help these ladies going into an election year. Who else is going to have representatives' ears? And the people who work with those representatives, the infrastructure, the bureaucracy. The representatives are elected, so they come and go. The bureaucracy is often more permanent and often more ingrained. And these ladies are meeting with, not just the representatives, but also the people who make those appointments and the people who, work in the buildings and the people in DC. So they're creating a resource, as time goes on here, with their more and more experience, they're creating a larger and larger resource for us. Supporting them is an excellent idea. Correct. What's it saying? Did they change their name? They're not the DC Project anymore, right? They're the Women for Gun Rights. They got sick of trying to, every time someone said, "What's the DC Project?" they would have to say, "Well, we're Women for Gun Rights." So they kind of switched it to Women for Gun Rights. Gunswatter saying 9,125 veteran suicides each year. Thanks for the data. Woods is saying, here in Washington, I gave a shotgun to my nephew according to 1639. I had to transfer it to an FFL. That creates a 4473. Both of us have guns. No new gun was involved. Exactly. No gun was purchased. No gun was created by a manufacturer. No new gun owner came to the scene. And in fact, if you did that with 3 guns at 3 different times, that would be 3 different 4473s. If you did it with a back and forth or a trade or something, that might be a 4473 going each way. So, and it's a 4473 for each of you. You and him both have to do a 4473. It's just one gun, one transaction. So I don't believe these numbers, or at least I'm skeptical on these numbers. Right, I don't know what that means. And getting cool outside, so you guys are just saying hey to each other. All right, so getting back to the list of stuff. Locked and Loaded Latinos came back with episode 129. It's been a number of weeks, if not months, since they were on, so it's good to see them back, and they're ambitious to get to SHOT Show and to continue on with their advocacy and kind of cross-platform, cross-community thing where they do the gaming and the gun stuff. Then we get to the Forge of Freedom with Alex and I think his dad, and talking about gun control myths. Worth your time checking that one out. Another one that was pretty interesting was listening to the team up with Meet the Pressers and Riding Shotgun with Charlie. They had Laura on with the with Faster Colorado. Faster is a great organization moving into a bunch of different states with education for, I think it's facilities, administrators, and the rest of the staff at a school. So instead of just concentrating on teachers, of course, it's the entire staff who's adult to get ready for any emergency, whether it be a broken window or a car accident or an accident in the playground or something. It's just emergency awareness. And then, of course, they include firearms accidents or violence as well. But anyways, good. It's an interesting conversation for sure. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I got a weird bug flying around here. Let's see. Then we have Gun Owners of America and their I don't know, I forget her name. Tiffany?
Firearms are the great equalizer.
The girl from Gun Owners of America doing her shorts, 3-minute. Why do anti-gun groups want to disarm women? Check that one out if you're interested. Let's see. Then we have Shooting in the Woods podcast is, I guess that's what Shooting Gallery New England is calling himself, Shooting in the Woods. And he had Boomstick Babe from Colorado on. Worth checking out. Kind of about an hour or something conversation from the other night. Let's see. This was the armed attorneys out of Texas talking about the Ninth Circuit Court stay for the assault weapons ban and how crazy it is because it was unprecedented the way that they did it, or it's just lame, I guess, the way that they did it, where normally, like, they did essentially went out of procedure, out of order in order to do it. They did it legally and it's correct. It's just that it's unusual and it's like bringing everything to bear for something, and it's quite obvious that they have a political agenda. The way that they kind of threw everything on the table to ensure that they could stop the, I guess, what they consider to be potential conflict with, a different state or a different circuit court. I don't know. They explain it better in the video. Speaking of explaining it better, this is interesting. The guy from Four Boxes is talking about National First Responders Day, and he says essentially the person who experiences the trauma or the injury or the situation is the first responder. Everybody else is a secondary responder. And it's an interesting point, but kind of a kick in the nuts to the first responders who the day is attempting to help or whatever. Let's see. And then we had Every Second Matters yesterday, and I just kind of did that prompt too. I invited about 40 people, which I would normally do on Every Second Matters when it's in full speed. And you never know who's going to show up when you invite that many people. And I did it last minute, so nobody knew the invite was coming or anything. But Jeff Knox ended up joining. Gizzard was in there for a while. I don't know if Gizzard is out here tonight, but Gizzard was in there for about, he was there for the whole time. But we chatted for about an hour or something. And then Jeff Knox jumped in, and we ended up having a 3-hour plus conversation with just Jeff, talking about different things. So if I have the ability, I'll chop that thing up. If somebody wants to do that, that'd be awesome. But I'll try to chop that thing up into kind of consumable pieces. There was quite a few interesting topics I asked Jeff questions about, and we kind of went back and forth on. So I guess next up is Professor Imane from Light Over Heat, and he's got his book going. So he posted this insight, I guess, behind the scenes look on how the sausage is made for his book. He talks about some of the issues and whatnot, the trials and whatnot that he's had to deal with getting that book created. We're about to jump into the next segment, which is gun talk. And I've been chatting here for 50 minutes. So you're all going to get a commercial, and I'm going to swig some coffee here. Poke this dog because he's not even doing anything. and then we'll get back to it. But we do have a store, like I mentioned, the Gear website store, and it's all stuff that we either built or had made for us, and from different projects over the years, or different things going on that we created something to commemorate or to remember, and check it out. We got a lot of stuff over there, and it supports what we're doing. Look, the dog even woke up because we're about to play a commercial.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
Stay back down. I should probably do a longer commercial. All right. Well, so now we'll get into the gun talk. So first thing we'll be talking about is She Fires, who does a show every Saturday or Sunday afternoon. This one was Home Safety with Strangers. Sunday I was out, so I didn't see any part of this show. I was out of it. So I wasn't watching nothing on Sunday. But I'm sure it was a good one. And stay tuned for another episode this coming Sunday, I'm assuming. Unless she's in Wanamaker. I don't know if she's going to Wanamaker or not. Then we got Gizzard. I mentioned earlier that Gizzard's crew joined us right at the beginning of the show. He sends all his people over. Appreciate it. Check out his shows, live conversation with no script, each Friday afternoon or evening, I guess. I've heard that he's going to start doing a knife show on Sunday to try to compete with my live Sunday knife show, but I guess we'll find out. Let's see. Next, we got Sonny, who's an ex-Spetsnaz dude, and he's been around for a long time. He's an instructor and doing all kinds of stuff right now. I don't even have a list of all the things Sonny's done, but if you don't know of him, then check him out. And this is something like a 20-minute long, 30-minute long video where he goes through all different stuff about the Kalashnikov magazines or AK magazines. And I learned a couple of things in this one. It was pretty neat. And listening to him with his experience from, going through training with them and using them, having actual real world experience with them, just dwarfs anybody else's like theoretical or opinion about it that we've got, because, he's actually has experience with them. So really good if you're interested in like useful, practical, I guess, practical knowledge of the Kalashnikov magazine. And it's modern because it has a bunch of the brand new stuff. You can see he's got one of those banana magazines back over there. Clover had EAA on, one of the sponsors of his podcast. That was just the other day. Chris from 740 had his friends from Glove Station on. It's pretty interesting listening to glove people talk. And pretty cool conversation. I don't know if anybody watches The Duelist, but he did an update kind of letting people know about the situation with his range and what's been going on, why he hasn't been on, and what the status is. But it's interesting to see. Unfortunately, not always good news, but it's still interesting, I guess is the word. It's unfortunate but interesting, having to deal with what he's having to deal with, and then just the fact that he's dealing with it and he's willing to and persist and keep going instead of just quitting or stopping or throwing in the towel or whatever. Then we got Meet the Pressers. So the last time it was Matt and Charlie doing a collaborative show. This is just Meet the Pressers themselves, and they had a really interesting conversation with Mike Oxnar. I think that's how he says it, and really interesting, talking about vision and talking about eye dominance and brains and eyeballs and how they work together with our hands. Really interesting stuff like that. Our eye dominance can be different between a handgun and a rifle, and it can be different with different other factors like the different positions and things like that. So understanding that can be pretty interesting, can definitely give someone more potential, I guess, correction or awareness if they're having some kind of difficulty with shooting. It was a really cool conversation. This one, I was just about halfway through this one. I haven't listened to this whole one, but this is another one from Forge of Freedom. Not really a gun one, but it's a guy who's been a dog trainer since the 80s, since the 1980s. And it says 10 natural steps to training the family dog. And there's just been a pretty good conversation of these two people talking about dog training, and I guess theory is what I've listened to so far, like his theory of dog training, which is, kind of common sense, but it's interesting to have someone actually have thought about it and, enunciate it, I guess, say it all. Then we got the Mouse Party every Saturday. Foss hosts a live format conversation or event, and every other week it's the Mouse Party. Normally that would be every week on Wednesday, but because of circumstances unforeseen, it got folded into the Sunday routine. So now every other week we get a Mouse Party. Every other week it's an overnight show. This week it'll be an overnight show, assuming it happens, assuming he's still able to do the thing. But we did see some new stickers over on the Gizzard show that I don't even have yet. So the crazy monkey and robot stickers, special bonus points if you've seen those over on Gizzard's show. So tomorrow will be the overnight, and we'll probably see those again, hopefully. This week I was on with Yankee. Finally had figured out how to get on a shooting left to center. I missed like the last 3, I think. So him and Matt and I have been chatting together since 2010. So it's kind of neat to be still chatting with people online over all those years. He's starting his Toys for Tots thing, where toy guns for tots, where Yankee wants to make sure the kids get toy guns along with toys for Christmas. So he essentially raises a crap ton of money with everybody, and then goes out and buys like an entire Target toy department's worth of toy guns, and then puts those into a pipeline that he has that distributes them out to a bunch of different locations that would normally not be collecting toy guns, but would still be willing to distribute them. So they don't get them from their suppliers, in other words, but they're willing to distribute them. So Yankee kind of injects the toy guns into that pipeline, which is pretty cool. He's figured out how to do that over the years and gets a ton of support. Lots of people jump in on that one each year. It'll only be for about a month. So by the end of the month, he'll be quitting it so that he can go get all the money together and start buying the toys and doing the rest. Edgar over at Guns for Everyone has been posting these animated reviews his kids are making. They're pretty cool. So if you want to check it out.
Created with personal defense.
Guns for Everyone, of course, is the place in Colorado that does the free concealed carry courses for anybody that wants to take them, and has done tons and tons of them. Like 10% of the concealed carries in Colorado come out of there. So they always do all kinds of interesting things, and one of them has been this animated reviews, and it's his kids that are putting them together. So it's pretty neat. The next one is barbecue, completely corked. Every second matters, and it's unethical, of course. There's no words for it. It's just that's how some people are going to be when they rip off everybody. They're going to rip off every second matters. So he has a book review that he does, or a book club that they do once a month, and even if it's every second matters, they don't care. But it was a pretty good one. They were talking about how to win friends and influence people, so you might want to check that one out after the fact. Definitely wasn't worth checking out live, since he would have been corking every second matters. Then we got Toby doing the radio shows on Wednesdays. Oh, that was the last one. What's it saying? Okay. Well, maybe somebody else will do them because it's worthy of doing them, and other people read. Maybe somebody with a real podcast who isn't faking it. But Toby goes live on Tuesdays with Grace Curley with the her show, and he does a segment called 2A Tuesday, and that's like 45 minutes on Tuesdays. And then on Wednesdays, they'll record the Rapid Fire radio show, and they do that at Cape Gun Works out of Massachusetts. And it's the one that I always put in here because, one, it's consistent. Two, it's the best 2A thing. If you're going to listen to something besides our shows, which are the best things on 2A, Then Toby's good at kind of juggling the 2A stuff, the actual issues that they've got going on in Massachusetts right now. Of course, being aware of what's going on in the rest of the world, or the country, I guess. And then being a gun shop owner, he's definitely on top of like all the different guns and grip angles and model numbers and everything that's going on, past and present. So he's way better at keeping track of all that stuff than I am, for sure, and that a lot of other people are, because he's actually in the industry. On top of that, he's just more fun to listen to than a lot of the other channels, which are the other people that attempt to do this kind of stuff, because he doesn't have any crazy agenda other than enjoying the passion with the people that call in and his customers, and trying to keep Massachusetts from succumbing to some horrible infringements. Right on. So it's worth checking out, and it's not perishable. You could check that out at any time, except for the stuff that's actually happening in Massachusetts, which hopefully will be over at some point. The conversations and the talk about guns and stuff is you could listen to that in 6 months and it would still be fresh. I haven't had a chance to get over to gun calendars and update everything, but normally we would try to offer some insight as to what's coming up anniversaries wise, holidays, things that you may not be paying attention to, especially stuff that's focused on guns or firearms or the Second Amendment, of course. So thanks again to our Patreons. I don't have enough Patreons to just do nothing but this, but again, this will be something that expands as I have more time. Definitely leaving it a slot though, and then we'll get into the military interviews. So there was a bunch of them. I've just been doing a lot of work this week, so I've been able to listen, kind of catch up on some, and listen to everything that came out this week at the same time. So this one has been awesome. This is part 2 of a really interesting conversation with the guy from Borstar, which is sort of like the Border Patrol elite force, or like the point of the spear for the Border Patrol. Then we got a guy who was a Ranger and then Delta, and now he's in a band. So it's a really interesting conversation with that guy. This was the first interview in the studio with Combat Story, where they redid their studio, and this is the first conversation. And this is a Force Recon guy who was a sniper, and interesting to hear the Marine version of a sniper stories from the day, because you hear a lot of stuff from SEAL snipers. You don't hear that much from Marine snipers, and this guy's a really interesting guy to listen to. I've only listened to about half of that, and it says it's round 1, so it sounds like there's going to be a 2-parter there. This last Monday, we're getting into our stuff now. So on Monday, we had Crump on. That was the day before his book came out. His book is called, Masters of Firearms? Something about Masters of Firearms. I can't think of the name right now. But it's a book with the life stories of 20 of the firearms inventors throughout time. Pretty interesting concept for a book. I've got mine already. You can get them off of Amazon for $20 for the book. About $10 for the Kindle, like electric book, and you can help out Crump and get a gun book out there. Helps normalize guns and offers a little bit different, like more of a historical, more of a societal look at guns than the typical guns are, defense, or guns are positive or negative to society. It's just a plain old, here's some information about the life stories of the inventors. We do a flashback show on Thursday. So this week we looked at the pocket pistols. It's pretty neat. You do these flashback shows, and then a whole bunch of people watch the videos, and then you got a whole bunch of new comments. So thanks to everybody who's been thanks to most everybody who's been commenting. We also get some really weird comments when you do that. We did a game night on Wednesday, trying to get the game show going again. So stay tuned for more and more of that. Again, thanks to the Patreons, people that participate in buying stuff over at the Gear website store. I'm not trying to get super rich and famous here, but I do got to pay the bills. I've been able to have some pretty decent success this year, keeping things going. But, as we're more and more flush or fluid or whatever the words are, as we get a little more Patreons and a little more backing, we'll be doing more and more with the game night. Why aren't we having more fun with guns? Why aren't we having the 2A people get together and just get together socially effectively? So that's essentially what I'm trying to do on with the new version of the next season of the tactical quiz. Is we'll turn it into a 2A game night where people are invited in. We'll do trivia, board games, things that we can play over the internet, and have some fun and let people just get to know each other and have some conversations and maybe apply some of that to 2A. And then of course I always have the ulterior motive of gathering all these people together live so that when the show is over and the live stream is ended, everybody has a chance to just chat, collaborate off air, and have a little time to catch up and chat about stuff and strategize. We're always better when we communicate, so let's create some more times to communicate. So that's what the game night's all about, and we'll continue to keep trying to do that. It's not something that's been done before, so sometimes you do stuff that's new and it works, and sometimes you don't. I'm not scared of experimenting with stuff or not succeeding, but I feel like that should be a thing, so I'm going to keep trying at it. We do the same thing where we take all the stuff on Instagram and talk about it like this. So you want to watch that? We do that on Wednesdays just before Cape Gunworks goes live with Rapid Fire Radio, sort of like an opening act. Feel free to join us in the middle of the day on Wednesday for our show. All right, that's it. We're pretty much wrapped this one up. I did it in about an hour, which is pretty good because that means I have 2 more hours to work on my other projects for today. So thanks everybody for joining us. Nobody's really saying anything, so I guess I either put everybody to sleep or you're bored. But thanks to the people that were chatting earlier. And if you have anything else, we'll start to wrap it up here by throwing up one more commercial for the store. And saying join us tomorrow. We'll have Tony Simon and Clover Tack, if they join me, to answer gun questions. And then, again, you've got Brooke Cheney in the afternoon tomorrow. And Foss wrapping it up in the evening.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.